I'm going to quickly do a fact check on the recent live feed that Christopher Upton did. First thing I'll say is the reason Christopher Upton doesn't say my name isn't because of the reason that he said, that he doesn't want to give me the attention, so to speak. It's because he knows if he doesn't say my name in full, he can say to the police, though everybody knows it's me he's talking about. He actually states everybody knows it's me that he's talking about. But the law being the law, he can state to the police or to the courts that, he wasn't talking about me. And it just muddies the water. And that is why he doesn't state my name in full every time he talks about me. I can happily say his name in full, Christopher Upton, whenever I talk about him, because I am not lying, I am telling the truth, and because I have done nothing wrong, I'm doing nothing wrong, so I can happily say his name. Now, I have never said he beats his wife. Whether he does or he doesn't, I do not know, so I have never said that. Does he beat his dogs? I can happily say, yes, I believe he does beat his dogs. The RSPCA believes he mentally and physically harms his dogs. We have seen him pick the dogs up by the ears to head height. We have seen him hit his dogs on numerous occasions. We have seen him water torture his dogs with water jets. We have seen him use electric collars. We've seen him do so many things to those poor dogs. And we have heard him say how he choked a dog out once. We have also heard him say how on times he has had to literally have a fight with a dog, a physical fight with the dog, until the dog backed down, until the dog gave in. So yes, I think anybody with any decency and moral compass would say he beats dogs. Does he beat his children? I don't know if he beats his children, and I've never said he beats his children. His daughter sent me a private message saying that he treated her with physical punishment. To what extent, I don't know. But she realised that once she got older that it was for her own benefit. What all that means, I do not know. I'm just telling you what his daughter said. But I've never said he beats his children. And we do know his daughter lies because she was the person, and it's been confirmed by the police, who phoned me lying about who she was to try and glean more information about me for her father. So yes, she does lie. So who knows whether he disciplined her or not, and to what extent. I don't know. I would suggest to her, if I was to offer her any advice, that she stop racing to the bottom of the barrel to meet her father. I would suggest that, especially seeing as she too has children, but that's totally up to her what she does. He also states that I sent, at the beginning, sent private messages to all of his friends stating that if you're on Christopher Upton's list, you're like him or something along the lines of that. That is not the case. But he did to my friends, and to the extent that Facebook, and this is going back years ago, so we know how Facebook was terrible in doing anything years ago. But they acted then and stopped him being able to send private messages to people. So again, another lie from Christopher Upton. He says that I continually make videos of him. I take his videos, clip them, and make videos of him. Well, if you look at my YouTube site, you will see throughout 2020, I presume that's when he's talking about, seeing as he's talking about present time, and he says she has continually. So you will see there is nothing, not one clip that or anything that I made between the end of 2019 to when he started really pushing the issue again in, I think it was March, wasn't it, of 21. But anyway, you will see that there's nothing there, absolutely nothing. So how he can say she continually makes, she has throughout continually made clips, and does so, is just, well, it's another lie, isn't it, on his part. He, however, and the followers know this, they must know this, continually mentions me. He hasn't stopped, to the point that I had to do my first fact checker. I think it was in March, because through the whole of 2020 and upwards, he was stating that the court case set a precedent that you could train your dog in any manner that you wanted to, i.e. the way that he does, i.e. beats his dogs, and that you wouldn't be able to be charged for it. That is not true, and I had to fact check that, because I cannot have any dog being beat because of a belief that a court case that included me, so to speak, allowed that. That's not the case. And if you go back on that fact checker in March, you will see that that is not the case. And the trial that he's talking about, well, it wasn't even a trial, because it was an appeal against the restraining order that was placed on him by a judge. She placed 2-year, not a simple 6-month one or whatever, a 2-year restraining order on him. And he did a deal with the CPS before it went to court that they put forward they put forward a restraining order for an acquittal, but the judge set the length of time, and that was 2 years. And he'd already said that his lawyer had a get out of jail card, and that's obviously what they played by accepting the restraining order for an acquittal. They knew that they could get out of going to trial, and he obviously didn't want to go to trial, because I had all the evidence of what he's been doing. So he knew it would all come out. So he stopped the trial by accepting the restraining order for an acquittal, knowing, because his lawyer had clicked what the others hadn't, that a jurisdiction would play a part. If you place a restraining order for an acquittal on someone, that is totally fine if they are both in the same area. But of course we are not. And unfortunately, I don't know whether the judge didn't look at the addresses of the people, or I don't know. I don't know how she didn't spot that, but she didn't. And neither did the CPS. And that meant that they just had to accept the restraining order would have to be dropped, because it was a legal technicality. So that was what he went to court for on that day, and it just had to be accepted. Nothing could be put forward to say that it shouldn't be dropped, because it was a legal technicality. The get out of jail card that Mr. Upton had spoken about. So I put the fact checker up about that. I had to do that. I couldn't allow that to go ahead, as I said. Videos aren't coming down. They are definitely going to stay up there as far as I am concerned, because they are there to help any other woman who goes through what I have had to go through from Mr. Upton and his family. They're there that if, and I'm sure, because I know he started on other women already, if they are needed by a woman to show the police the extent that he goes to without having to go through it themselves, then I am happy for them to share that. And I'm happy for any police to get in contact with me, to let them know what he does and how far he goes. And then hopefully that will mean the next person that he picks on doesn't have to go through all that I have gone through. And let's quickly just remember what I have gone through. He's phoned me on numerous occasions, calling me a spastic and a cripple because I'm epileptic. He has made so many sick videos about me. He's even been found parked up just outside of the restraining order, and it wasn't for the dog training thingamajig. He wasn't 10 miles away. He was just outside the restraining order, as close as he could get without breaking the restraining order. His wife has said that she'd like me to be poisoned. He has said, I hope she has a fit and dies. He's also said that 300 years ago, they knew how to treat people like you. Me being epileptic, your head would have been found on a pole in your sunny garden in Scotland. You should be burnt like a witch, because they used to think that epileptics were witches. He's given me a safe word to use for when it gets too much for me. He talks about wearing a gimp outfit for me. So many things. He sung me love songs. He's just a disgusting man. So, basically, if he doesn't want to deal with the police, stop harassing the police. Stop calling them. Stop complaining about them. Leave them alone. They'll happily leave you alone. He's now offering he's trying to get somebody to come up here and, as he said, paparazzis me. Now, check the legal terms out. I've spoken to the police for clarification over this. So this one I did get in contact with the police and spoke to them about clarifying, who can take pictures, where they can take pictures, etc., etc. I am surrounded by hundreds of acres of fields. There's one private lane into here. Check all of that out. You'll see what is being... Well, actually, I'm not going to continue down that line. It's just a waste of... I can't see any decent person doing that for Mr. Upton. And if they did, well, I've already clarified it with the police, so I'm feeling quite at ease after speaking to them. Doesn't that show how obsessed he is? The other thing is his followers paid for his lawyer to go through court, but of course he didn't go through to court, did he? He chickened out, or whatever you want to call it, and took the deal. So if you want to see all the evidence, if you believe him, which I don't believe anybody could believe him, I really don't believe that anybody believes him, why don't you think to yourselves, well, instead of him paying all these people to go and take pictures of her, why don't we get together and pay for him to take her to civil court? Because it doesn't cost $30,000, as he said. It doesn't cost anywhere near that. So, why not do that? I'll tell you why. Because he lies. He knows he lies. So that's why that won't happen. Because all the evidence is out there, and I think the majority of people with tiny common sense can see that Mr. Upton is the stalker. I mean, why does he want a recent and up-to-date picture of me? I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, think about that. He's willing to pay somebody to get a recent and up-to-date picture of me. He wants somebody to sit outside and monitor me, and he's willing to pay for that. That's a stalker. That is an obsessed man. He even states himself, if he did it, it would be classed as stalking. It would be stalking. So he'll pay somebody else to do it. That doesn't, I mean, oh, the common sense of the man is just ridiculous, and the sickness of the man is just ridiculous. Don't keep encouraging him, really. I mean, he shows his level of narcissistic behaviour and nastiness and everything. I mean, there's nothing that would make a decent person think, oh yeah, he's right and she's wrong. There's nothing. It is, I mean, it's the same, isn't it, with him and the Gundog world. I mean, he continually goes on about that trainer who's won championships. Well, he's won championships. He's got a good reputation. He's making an awful lot of money and doing an awful lot of work, and he's everything that Mr. Upton would want to be, but can't be because he hasn't got the talent and he hasn't got the personality. And I mean, if you need the talent, and he hasn't got it. He's not even won one open field trial, not one. So it's just envy because he can't do, through his own failings, his own lacking in capabilities, he can't do what he wished that what he sees that trainer do. Well, that's not that trainer's fault. So I will say again, stop encouraging the man. If he turns up here and harms me, everybody who's encouraged him has to bear that on their shoulder. And if you don't think he'll do that, think how far he's gone so far. And don't forget, this is a man who beat a bouncer up so badly he served time for it.